Hey, hello. It is the Go Birds podcast. Elliot Short Parks, James Seltzer with you. I mean, all-time bad Eagles loss. Like, that is one of the worst regular season losses of my life, all things considered, considering, how much better they are than Cowboys, obviously how much better they looked for the first half compared to the second half, for the majority of the first half, and the unforced errors, the stupidity, the mistakes that led to it happening. I mean, what was it? 8,506 penalties, I think was the final
Something
tally
roughly that,
was
yeah.
somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, the Saquon fumble, the Xavier Gibson, not just fumble, but fielding of the ball, that spot to begin. I mean, just like there was absolutely no way the Eagles should have lost that game, and they did. And it's like that's how you lose the 1 seed. That's how you lose a playoff game because of it. And look, they're still not in the worst position, and if they win out, they're fine, and all this stuff. But that was a disastrous results, to use a soccer term, and it was just awful. Like I didn't want to come on to the pod. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I love you, dude. You look great. I want nothing to do with you right now. I just want to go and put on a movie for the half an hour that I can justify staying awake before I have to go to bed, and get up and talk about this almost cursed Tucker brown stuff that comes out of our butts. That's what I feel like. I'm so annoyed right now. This crap. I'm so bummed, dude. That sucked. What a sucky, crappy game.
When it was 14-0, I felt super confident. When it was 21-0, I texted you and Tucker and said, would you bet your life right now that they were going to win the game? And I was sitting there thinking, I would bet my life. Like, at 21-0, they win all the time. They were in complete control. The offense was clicking. The defense was dominating. And had we done that, we'd be dead. Because me, you, and Tucker all agreed with it. And frankly, maybe that would be
is
better.
The pod title, At Least We're Not Dead?
At least we're not dead, or maybe we should be dead. Yeah. But no, I mean, look, this is the biggest blown lead since 21-point blown lead, according to Tucker, is the biggest blown lead since 1999. It's the biggest blown lead of the Sirianni era, which ironically was in 2023.
Thanks a lot, Tucker, for that fact.
Yeah,
we really appreciate it.
The season that we always compare
that's
the
biggest blown lead since the first year of the Andy Reid era, when they went 3-13.
Yeah, that's crazy. That. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not even gonna try to say a positive thing. That was unacceptable.
No positives. There's nothing to say. Brayton Mann, it was
completely unacceptable. I mean, here's the thing: the Eagles are a good team. The Eagles have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Whoa, I just flipped sideways. But
yeah, that was like the first half or second half.
Yes, basically. But if they keep doing the stuff that they're doing today, they're not going to. Their ability to shoot themselves in the foot is unbelievable. And I think one sequence perfectly described this team's issues this season. So I think it's 21-21. They throw the ball to Devontae. He gets it at the 12-yard line. They're clicking. The Cowboys had just a momentum. The Eagles are driving. They're all the way down to the 12. It should be 1st and goal. Instead of it being 1st and goal, there's a penalty. I believe it was on Fred Johnson. Kicks him back to the 35. Next play, Saquon fumbles it.
It was on Fred Johnson.
That is what this team's kryptonite, and everyone deserves blame for this. Sirianni, Patullo, Saquon, Xavier Gibson, Jake Elliott missed a kick. The defense, I think, actually, all things considered, not that bad. Clearly got worse as the game went on, but got some big stops. And you should win a game where you only give up 21 points in Dallas. But ultimately, this team is shooting itself in the foot like no team I've ever seen before. Honestly, the 2023 team, I don't even remember this level of mistake, because I feel like their games weren't as competitive, but it's unbelievable. Their ability to constantly make the mistake at the big time. And honestly, it's a miracle they win as much as they do, but it is crazy. It's crazy. And to make the type of mistakes they did, again, the Saquon fumble, the Gibson even fielding it is dumb. All those things, just brutal, absolutely brutal.
Yeah, no one to blame but themselves tonight. And look, I know we're going to hear something tomorrow, and I will say, some of the calls were horrendous, but a lot of the penalties were penalties.
They had 14
exactly.
Penalties.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. A couple of them were real bad. I can't remember which one at the end. There was a pretty big one at the big spot there that was you absolutely have to be. Oh, the Goddard offensive pass interference. Maybe that was a horrendous call, but But for the most part, the Eagles did to themselves. Like they were penalties. Now, I'm tired of watching football games and seeing so many flags. Like usually we don't see all these penalties because they don't call everything. I think they've been a little intense with that, but there's no one to blame but themselves. Like that, the penalties were on them. And again, that's something that we've been talking about for a while now. I mean, we talked about with how good the D was playing. Like, if they just could clean up the penalties and not make mistakes, that was like kind of it, and not turn the
But
ball
also,
over.
also,
And
so
they
like,
lost tonight because of penalties and turning the ball over. Like, that's the biggest reason they lost. Yes, the offense went cold, and that's frustrating. We'll talk about it, especially as the week goes on. And how could they look so good and then so bad, and what happened? And there's so many things from a play perspective we can get into. But at the end of the day, they lost because of the 14 penalties and the Saquon and Gibson fumbles.
so
That's why they lost.
they did, and I'm not pushing back on that, but I think saying they lost because of that does slightly understate how bad the offense was.
No,
They scored
look, they lost because of
they
everything.
they scored 0 points basically in the final 3 quarters.
I'm
I
just
think they
saying, in that situation, they still would have won.
No,
You're
agreed,
right. Like the
agreed. But
offense
I'm
has to
saying,
be better. I
like
didn't want it to be.
the self-inflicted wounds are really bad, and I think it's this team's biggest flaw. But this offense has now been bad for basically what 11 of the last 12 quarters, and that might be a little strong, but ultimately they were good for 1 quarter today. I mean, they were unbelievable to start the game. They
Since
had
the Giants game, they've been
Since the
bad.
Giants game.
Essentially.
They've been bad since the Giants game. And, we talked coming out of the bye, and I strongly felt this, that this team would be better after the bye because the bye is a weapon for this team, and that they would come out with with the mistakes cleaned up, the offense looking better, new ideas. And we haven't seen any of that. Any of that. And I'll have to rewatch it to see why the offense struggled for the final 3 quarters. Sometimes it's hard live to really
I
tell.
won't rewatch it. I'll tell you that much.
But I will say it's hard for me to push back or to disagree with anyone that says they went conservative, because they were moving the ball up and down the field like it was no problem for the first 3 drives of the game. Yeah, first 3 drives, 3 touchdowns, and then to go completely cold. I don't think they got in the red zone for the final 3 quarters. And I will say this, and then we'll dispute if it's true or not. Like, you can certainly sit here and say, with all that talent, that should never happen. And it shouldn't, because Devontae was good today. AJ was good today. I thought the offensive line actually was okay, all things considered. But Saquon was brutal. What did he end with?
Saquon was brutal. That's the
Did,
thing. I was gonna Jalen wasn't amazing or anything, but Jalen was fine. Saquon was awful. They can't run the ball. And again, the penalties were a disaster. It kept stalling drives. It kept pushing him back. Kept putting him in tough positions. But at the end of the day, and look, what did Bigsby get? 1 carry, and it was like a 7-yard run or whatever. And they were like, all right, no more Tank Bigsby. Saquon was awful today. That was, I know he had the game that they lost last year because of the drop pass, but on the whole, everything considered, the fumble, I think that's the worst game Saquon's ever played as an Eagle. He was awful, man. He was awful. And at a certain point, if Tank Bigsby is the starting running back today, they probably win that game. I hate to say
and
it.
also, look, I don't know. And again, we'd have to rewatch. Did the Cowboys make all types of adjustments to take AJ away? Maybe. But the Cowboys have been a horrendous defense all year. So I'm not sure what adjustments they could have made that were acceptable for AJ to go from absolutely dominating the game to basically being a non-factor for the majority of the final part of the game. So they're unable to move the ball. And let's talk about Patullo. So I have been,
and look, Nick too.
And Nick too.
Because of the penalties and the offense, both.
For sure. So Nick and Patullo.
But yeah, go ahead, Patullo. We'll get to that. Go Patullo.
Nick and Patullo wrapped up in this, right?
Yeah.
But I've been against the idea of bringing in somebody that could have new ideas. I've been against the idea of, having Patullo not call plays. That argument is starting to lose its luster. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, do I think Patullo is the reason the offense has struggled through 12 games now? I don't think he is the number one reason. I think penalties and things like that are, but this team has a chance. This team has a chance to win the Super Bowl. And the offense has now been bad for 11 of 12 quarters. And it doesn't seem like Nick and Patullo are able to fix the problem. Maybe nobody can come in here and fix the problem, but I am more interested in bringing somebody in that could at least bring ideas to the table that might be able to do it. Honestly, I'm not even saying I would definitely strip Patullo of play calling, but maybe he's just not a good play caller. Maybe he's fine with the scheme. Maybe the guys like him and all that. But this team with this much talent, which again, I think there is some dispute as to how much talent they have, but they should have enough talent to score more than 0 points the final 3 quarters of the game against the 29th ranked defense in the NFL. Full stop.
Especially after they showed that they can score points against them. It wasn't like,
Yes.
yeah, they got shut out today. They showed that they could be dynamic against that defense. And then, like, to your point, I don't care what adjustments they make. It doesn't just completely shut down that offense, that matchup, unless like the other team is just like, well, guess you got us. We're just
Well,
gonna
and
take it
also
easy and hope you don't score any more points. What?
all week, the hope was that in the dome where there is no weather, where there is nothing like that, we would see what the offense really looked like. And they came out looking like that. But on the whole, through 60 minutes, we can stop blaming the wind the last few weeks. Like the wind has been the number one defense of this
No, yeah,
offense
no doubt.
for the last 2 games.
No doubt.
Today, they scored 21 points and clearly they were better. But I would argue that these last 3 quarters were worse than any quarter they played in the last 2 games against the Packers and the Lions. I mean,
Well, I think it's that the Saquon and the running game of it all, and really the Saquon thing is the most concerning thing because, it feels like, that was, again, the thing that made them elite with the defense last year. And Jalen is a big time player. He makes big plays. He made some today in this game, like moments, that run late, like, and that throw to Devontae was a great throw, but it got wiped off because of penalty, some stuff and all that. But, if they can't run the ball at all, like they're not like not the team they were last year. They're a bad
running team. They're
and
they're unable to run the ball.
Saquon looks bad, and he's not a good pass catcher, like a particularly good one. He's okay, he's fine. Like they are deficient in that area, and that's a concern because they've been deficient there all year long. And Jalen had some nice runs today and seemed to be a little more willing to throw his body around and all that when he had to. But yeah, it's to your point, like the coaching has to be better. And I don't know if that's going to help the running game or not, but you have to find ways to find answers. And let's get to Nick, because I do think that couples with, again, if they don't have 14 penalties, they don't lose this game.
Yeah.
Full stop, Elliot.
Yes.
And look, that's something where and I think Nick deserves a ton of credit for up until this season being absolutely elite at cleaning these things up as the season has gone on. We've talked about it, whether 2021, they were historic through the first 6 or 7 games, or every year it seems like they're a little sloppy early on, whatever, and something, particularly penalties, and Nick tightens it up and they figure it out. And this year they just haven't at all in any way, shape, or form. This is worse. This was the worst game, from that perspective all year. And then you add in the dumb plays like Xavier Gibson, that fumble, like that's like a dumb decision in a bad spot. Like that's not a smart team. Like we're accustomed to making that kind of decision. So, I think this is a bad game for Nick too.
Well, and so I'll say this, and this is always the interesting part of this discussion is I cannot imagine Xavier Gibson is coached to catch the ball at the 2-yard line. So
I don't think so either. I'm
exactly.
just saying, like at the end of the day, all this, that when you see dumb football, that comes back.
Agreed, for sure. And so that's the interesting part of it is where I'm saying I honestly don't think the coaches are as much to blame as they're going to get over the next 5 days. And by the way, this Bears game becomes critically important now on Friday. But if they're not able to fix this, then they got to figure out some plan to try to fix it. Because as bad as it might feel right now, they still have a good chance of going to the Super Bowl. There's a good chance that they will still be a top 2 seed. Last year, they were a top 2 seed and they end up getting home field advantage. They could still be the 1 seed for sure. Like that could still happen. So the frustrating part is the defense, and we won't talk about it much today, I'm sure, but like they were still pretty good. They got a bunch of big stops. They got the interception.
Look, we talked about it coming in, right? We said if they held them to 24 points,
yeah,
it was a great showing. And they also had, turnover. They made plays, and again, another couple spots where a couple drops defensively where they had chances to turn it over even more. But
yeah, exactly. So,
and also real quick, we should say that, who knows what happens if they don't lose Blankenship. And Jomo came back, but like the Blankenship injury really hurt them.
It did for sure. Also, I didn't like moving Cooper outside. The Cowboys went to Cooper
it
hurt.
Second he
went to the outside. I know people are saying it was OPI.
Yeah, the Adoree injury hit him too. I knew there was another one. Yeah.
Even like Adoree hurt them, but like the decision
not
to go
going
to Cooper over Keely.
I agree.
Exactly.
I agree.
So And
Carter over Keely and Cooper. Yeah, exactly.
you could tell the Cowboys, the second Cooper went in, attacked him down the field, and had success doing it. People will say it was OPI on CD. I'll have to replay it or re-see it. But regardless, they clearly went after him. So that didn't work out. But here's my thing, just to get back to Nick, right? That I agree, and we've said this a lot. He is good at fixing problems. He is, and we've seen it. But this feels more like 2023 in the way that I'm not sure what problem he's fixed this year so far. The offense has not gotten better. If anything, they're getting worse,
No,
frankly.
you're
because
right. The defense is the only thing that's gotten better.
the defense is improving.
Vic and Howie get the credit for that.
And honestly, it's a miracle the defense didn't give up more points than they did when you consider the offense did literally nothing
Oh, I
for
know.
40
Those
points of
last
the
two
game.
turnovers, I don't think they got points off of them.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah,
that,
no, they
that goal
didn't.
line
Yeah.
stand was
They stopped them on
phenomenal.
fourth down.
In the twice. That fourth down there, and then the fourth down at the beginning of the game. Like the D was great again. The D,
Yeah.
I feel I put very little of this on the D.
But that's my concern for the offense the rest of the season. I don't think we're going to see this offense turn it around. I don't think they'll be as bad as they were today, but I think what we've seen over the last 3 weeks is some variation of what we're going to see. Saquon looks like he doesn't have it. The running game is terrible.
Why not more Tanks Bigsby? Like seriously, well, I know I said it going in. I said it on Saturday show. I said it on the morning show, but like, what the hell? Like the guy gets positive yards. Like I just he looks more explosive. Like it's not an answer. I'm not saying Tank Bigsby's going to save the season.
Well, it's the fact we're even talking about it.
Yeah, but I don't understand why you wouldn't give him more carries, more touches.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I think cutting into Saquon's touches is a tough decision to make as a franchise. You just gave him a $35 million check this past offseason after paying him the year
I think
before.
it might help him moving forward. I think he had too many touches.
Right.
I think he needs a break, man.
But here's my other concern off of this game is when I thought about the future of the season, I pictured them as the 1 seed, or I pictured them going to LA to play the Rams. And I still think they could go to LA and beat the Rams. But man, this offense is going to have a hard time outscoring that Rams defense. Now, the good news is the Eagles defense, once again, looks awesome, right? Like, I think a good showing today against a very good Dallas defense, holding them to 24 points, getting fourth down stops. So I still have confidence in the defense. But it doesn't feel like the offense, it's not only trending in the right direction, it's trending in the wrong direction. It's not staying the same. It doesn't look the same every week. It's getting progressively worse. And what's most frustrating is the first 3 drives of the game look awesome, and then they completely go into their shell. So if they did make the decision to go into conservative mode, on one hand, you go, well, it's worked for them in the past. It didn't work today. On the other hand, you go, you cannot go into a conservative style of coaching for the final 3 quarters. If it's like halftime, fine. If it's the 4th quarter, maybe. But like, man, the whole 3 quarters is absurd. I find it hard to believe they decided to do that when we get down to the locker room. You know, I'm sure they'll be asked, and who knows if they'll tell the truth. But like, regardless, I am losing faith in the fact that this offense can turn it around. I'm just losing faith. Like they got what they needed in the passing game to an extent today. AJ was super involved, right? Like, and also put that out there. The last, think about that. The last 2 games, AJ has been as involved as he could possibly ask for, and the offense has not improved, right? AJ got a ton of targets last week against the Lions. Got a ton of targets today, and I know they were productive when he was getting the ball, but like, for this idea of like get the ball to AJ and things will turn around, that's not happened today. It's not opening up. It's not helping the running game. And I'm not pinning that on AJ, but what I'm saying is a saving grace or like a hope from fans was, well, if they get AJ involved, then things can start to turn around. They have started
AJ to get too.
Right. They've started to get AJ involved and it has not turned around. So if you're thinking like what could help this offense get better moving forward, I think you have to pray the penalties stop. I don't know if they will. But I don't know what the thing you point to right now, because it's like we don't think the running game is going to get going. AJ's getting involved and they're still not better. They're not turning the ball. I mean, they did today. They turned it over with the Saquon thing, but it's not like they turned it over 4 times on offense. Like they just might not be a good offense. And that's why, even though I do not think Sirianni and Patullo ultimately like hold all the blame, because the players do too, maybe they need some ideas. And it's hard to put ideas in season and all that, but man, like it's not good. It's 3 games out of the bye where they had their bye and a chance to go and think about what they could do to fix it, and it's gotten worse. So I don't know why people. I don't know what the belief is that Patullo can get this going would be based on.
Yeah, well, you were the one who believed in him, not me.
Well, I didn't even like the hire, to be clear.
Yeah, look,
but today, I guess what I'm saying is today felt more like a Patullo thing than a player.
I think, I think it's everything. I think Saquon doesn't have it, and I think let's get you down the locker room, because I do think, look, It's going to be fascinating. We talked, and they're lucky it's a short week. I think that's really going to help. They turn the page quickly. Obviously, they got to win on Friday. It's massive
Yeah.
against an eight and
Bears
three
coming
Bears
off a
team.
win.
But I do think that we've talked so much about winning cures all, even though it hasn't been fun down there, and they've still been winning. It'll be really interesting to see how this loss hits the locker room and see what they do to turn around. But I'm with you. Look, I think there's real reason for concern with this offense and the potential that it might be, not get much better is absolutely, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would think would get much better at this exact moment. So we're gonna say, all right, get down to the locker room, and we'll be back later in the week to react to more of this and look ahead to Friday. But fun times, man. All right. This sucks. So I'll say that. And we will talk later in the week again, get down to the locker room, and I got nothing else. He's
All
Owen
right.
James.